Hi everyone. I am Savish Thomas, history teacher of St. Lucy's School, Basti. Today, I would like to give a lecture on the first chapter of class 10 history, the first war of Indian independence, 1857. The first war of Indian independence is also known as the Revolt of 1857, the Great Uprising of 1857, and also the Sepoy Mutiny. For the Indian historians and freedom fighters, the Revolt of 1857 is our first war of independence. But the British tried to belittle it by saying that it as a mutiny of the Sepoys. They called it as the mutiny of Sepoys because it was started as a revolution among the Sepoys. A Sepoy is an Indian soldier in the British Army. Whatever be the opinion, we have to study in detail about two important topics related to the revolt of 1857, the causes of the revolt of 1857 and the consequences of the revolt of 1857. In the first chapter, three important topics are given: the causes, the cause and the consequences. But as per the syllabus prescribed by ICSE board, the cause of the revolution is not included in the syllabus. So we will study about the causes of the revolt and the consequences of the revolt. Our first topic of study is the causes of the revolt of 1857. For the revolt of 1857 or the first war of Indian independence, there are four major causes. The first one is political causes, second one is socio-religious causes, third one is economic causes, and the fourth one is military causes. Now, let us discuss about the sub-points of the first cause, the political causes of the revolt of 1857. Under this heading, we have studied four major topics. The first sub-point under the political cause is policy of expansion. Here also we have four sub-points. The four sub-points of the policy of expansion are by outright wars, by subsidiary alliance, by doctrine of lapse, and on the pretext of allied misrule. Let us see in detail about these four sub-points. The first one is by outright wars. The English East India Company was a trading company. In the beginning, its intention was to make profit from trade with India. In course of time, especially by the second half of the 18th century, the British changed their interest. They wanted to conquer the whole of India. For that, they used the first method by outright wars. Outright war means by using force. One by one, many Indian kingdoms were conquered by attacking them. The first war fought in the Indian soil with this respect was the Battle of Plassey. The second method used by the British to expand their territory in India was the subsidiary alliance system. It was introduced by Lord Wellesley. According to this system, the Indian kingdoms were conquered without any war. As per this system, Indian rulers were given protection by the British against their Indian enemies. In order to get protection by the British, the Indian rulers have to follow some conditions. The first condition, they have to accept the British as their overlord. Along with this, they have to give up all connections with the other foreign companies like Dutch, French and the Portuguese. The third one, they have to accommodate a British resident in their own court. The fourth one, the Indian rulers should accommodate a large British army at their own expenses. So, if they are following these terms and conditions, the Indian rulers got protection from by the British. The third method used by the British to conquer the Indian kingdom was by following the system of the doctrine of lapse. It was a new method introduced by Lord Dalhousie. It is the tradition of the Indian society. If a couple is not having children, they are adopting the children. As per the provisions of doctrine of lapse, if an Indian ruler died without a male heir, the adopted child cannot inherit the throne. The kingdom of the expired emperor should be taken over by the British. The adopted son can inherit the personal property of the deceased ruler. The last method used by the British for expanding their empire in India was on the pretext of alleged misrule or misgovernance. In many Indian kingdoms, there were political unrest. If there is a revolt or a revolution in an Indian kingdom, the British accuse the Indian ruler is incapable of ruling that state by giving this excuse, their kingdoms were annexed. The example for the kingdom annexed by using the alleged misrule was the kingdom of Awadh. Once an Indian kingdom is annexed by the British, they increase the rate of taxation on the people. They disbanded the army of the ruler, so it caused for unemployment and other problems in the kingdom. The second political cause of the revolt of 1857 is disrespect shown to Bahadur Shah Zafar. Bahadur Shah Zafar was the last Mughal emperor. He was respected by the Indians, especially by the Muslims, and he was considered as the emperor of India, even though he was very old and powerless. In the year 1849, Lord Dalhousie made a controversial announcement that annoyed the people of India who were respecting Bahadur Shah Zafar. As per the announcement of Lord Dalhousie, the successors of Bahadur Shah Zafar should vacate Red Fort and they have to shift to a place near Qutub Minar. It hurted the feeling of the Indians, especially the Muslims. In the year 1856, another controversial announcement was made by Lord Canning. According to this announcement, the successors of Bahadur Shah Zafar, after the death of Bahadur Shah Zafar, they are not allowed to use any imperial titles. These two announcements made the Indians bitter enemies of British. The third political cause of the revolt of 1857 is treatment given to Nana Sahib. Nana Sahib was the adopted son of the last Peshwa Bajirao II. As he was an adopted son, he became a victim of the doctrine of lapse. He could not inherit the throne of his father, so he became a bitter rival of the English East India Company. Once the revolt of 1857 started, this Nana Sahib took the leadership of the revolution. The last reason, last political cause of the revolt of 1857 is absentee sovereignty of the British. Absentee sovereignty means ruling through representatives. India was conquered by many foreigners. From the 11th century, India was ruled by sultans. From the 14th century, India was ruled by Mughals. But these sultans and Mughals, they settled in India, they became a part of India, but the British were entirely different from the Mughals and sultans. They never liked to be a part of India. They ruled India through representatives thousands of kilometers from India. So these were the four major political causes of the revolt of 1857.